Nicole, when was the last time you listened to your gut?
I always do, because we know there's a lot of misleading health advice out there, and most of what we're taught about food is wrong. Did you know that Big Food even pays TikTok influencers to say that ultra-processed foods are healthy? Well, they're not.
My God, that is shocking. It's no wonder that 1 in 8 people globally, by the way, that's over 1 billion people if you don't want to do the maths, are living with obesity.
Our sponsor Zoe understands that our health is suffering, and it's time we listened to our gut.
They make your gut health their business. And as we've learnt in over 5 years of doing this pod, gut health is key to overall health.
Your Zoe membership starts by testing your gut health, backed by one of the world's largest microbiome databases and most scientifically advanced at-home gut health tests. Zoe gives you proven science whenever you need it.
Listen, we know better than anyone else being in the self-care space that the start of every new year is noisy with health advice that is often just full of hot air and rubbish. But Zoe is the solution that you can trust.
Zoe is the science and nutrition company leading a movement to transform the health of millions. And Zoe membership has been proven by a randomized controlled trial, giving you the solutions to listen to your gut, make smarter food choices, and change your health for life.
Go to Zoe.com and find out what Zoe membership could do for you. And because you listen to Self-Care Club, you can use the exclusive code SELFCARE10 to get 10% off membership. As a Zoe member, you'll get an at-home test kit and personalised nutrition programme to help you make smarter food choices that support your gut. That's Zoe.com. Use code SELFCARE10 at checkout. Trust your gut. Trust Zoe.
This episode is brought to you by the Toyota Grand Highlander. Life's journey brings constant change filled with exciting surprises and grand challenges. And with its spaciousness, power, and style, the Toyota Grand Highlander is more than a vehicle. It's your partner in embracing all life throws at you. From the spacious adult-sized third row to seating for up to 8 passengers, the Toyota Grand Highlander is up for every grand challenge. Learn more at toyota.com/Grand Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
More rewards, more savings. With American Express Business Gold, earn up to $395 back in annual statement credits on eligible purchases at select shipping, food delivery, and retail subscription merchants. Enjoy the benefits of membership with the Amex Business Gold Card. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
This episode is sponsored by Zoe. Before we jump into today's episode, we just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that Mother's Day can be a very difficult day for a lot of people. So we want to send our love to any of our listeners who may have lost their mother or who are estranged from their mothers, and also to anyone experiencing fertility struggles or the loss of a child. And I thought, this is kind of on me now to start filling this with my own stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this is not anyone else's responsibility to fill that gap.
It's been a really hard year. And some of it's been amazing and insightful and helpful and all of everything we all needed.
Yeah.
And some of it's been quite heartbreaking.
I have found you such an amazing... I'm going to cry. I have found you so supportive and so ready to always listen and to just hold space for me to be wherever I am at. And honestly, I don't know if I would have gotten through it the way I have without you. So
I'm going to pause recording to give Nicole a hug.
hello, everybody. I'm Nicole Goodman.
And I'm Laura Mishcon, and welcome to Self-Care Club.
In honour of Mother's Day, today we wanted to revisit our show from last year, as the landscape has changed quite a bit for both Lauren and myself in just a year. And we thought that some aspects of motherhood and the themes that we are now tackling and find ourselves in might resonate with some of you.
Yeah.
We released a show last year on motherhood. Please go back and listen to it if you want to. It was one of our most fed back shows in over 600 episodes. The feedback was astounding and very humbling. And I think the show resonated with an awful lot of people.
Yeah. It was a very difficult show for you to record.
Yes.
It was a very difficult show to sit through, I think, and be in. And I did go back and listen to it over the weekend.
As did I, because I knew we were recording this, so I just wanted to get myself a bit sort of reacquainted with where we were both at.
Yeah.
This time last year.
So I think how you were feeling last year and probably the difference between last year and this year is probably a bit more important, and it's a bit bigger than everything that I'm going through. So I'm going to recap you.
I'm not having that. I'm not having you diminish anything.
I'm not diminishing it, but it's
just different.
It's different. Okay, we'll agree with it's different.
Well, it is different. But our experiences as mothers are completely different.
Yeah,
for many, many reasons. Because we are also completely different. So obviously our experiences would be completely different too.
Should we recap a little just at in the round about last year's show and where we were and how we were feeling and everything else?
Yeah, let's recap. I constantly feel like I could be doing better. I always tell myself that I am a shit mum and I am doing a bit of a shit job. That's how I feel about it.
What I find most interesting about that is that in every other area of your life, including your work, because I'm with you nearly every day, you always say to me, I trust my instinct.
I just always think I could do it better.
What does that look like?
No, not could do it better. I always think I should be doing it better.
What does that look like?
I don't know. I was very upset and I felt very sad and I was very bogged down with what motherhood was presenting to me at that time. And I was very down on myself.
I was about to say you just put so much blame on yourself, which was what made me feel so sad and upset when I listened to it over the weekend. You know, hearing you say, I feel like a shit mum, I was like, oh, it was painful to hear. It really was. You were in such a dark, it felt like you were in the bogs.
Yeah.
You know, like in a dark forest. It was really hard.
And contrasting to that, your experience with motherhood has always been, what you say, straightforward and...
Well, yeah, I think that my conclusion was that because I had struggled a little to have the kids, Max especially, and then Josh took 6 years, I think I was so kind of appreciative of the miracle that they were here and that they existed and everything that I'd been through. I felt very grateful and also very at ease and naturally confident in motherhood. I felt very comfortable, very happy, very safe, very myself, very fulfilled, all the things. And there was such a jarring difference between our experiences and also our overriding feelings of what motherhood
brings.
Yes. But it was a difficult episode. It was really, really difficult.
Oh, I listened to it yesterday because I wanted to familiarise myself with it, and I felt so sad hearing myself. Yeah, my God, I felt so sad. And I also felt very touched by your support throughout that episode. You were so lovely and supportive and open and compassionate and just lovely.
That's my job, innit?
Yeah, well, yeah, you're my friend, and I appreciated hearing it back. Yeah. Anyway, so do go back and listen to it if you. It's not an upper of an episode, but it is an interesting conversation.
And it's a fairly well-rounded conversation, I would say.
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
I think it is. But, that's the beauty of our partnership, is that we always come at things so differently and from such different places that we can only bring a well-balanced view because we just experience the world so differently.
Yeah.
I also want to say, I didn't want to do this episode.
I know, but you didn't want to do last year's.
I didn't want to do last year's.
And it was actually such a powerful episode
Yeah.
that resonated so hard with so many of the listeners that it was it felt very churlish not to come back when actually things are different. And I think we're both able to bring new and interesting aspects of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason I just didn't really want to revisit this. So we were looking for practices to do around motherhood because obviously we wanted to mark this moment of the year, which we always do on Self-Care Club. And then it just kind of came back to, well, why don't we talk about where we're at now?
Because we've both been having quite long conversations about where we are now, haven't we? And I always find what leaks into our conversations tends to then leak into the show anyway, naturally, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Kind of.
Yeah.
And it's become quite a big conversation between the two of us recently, hasn't it?
I think it always is.
It always is. But I mean, your stuff and my stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And I spoke to my daughter that I was doing this episode, and she is comfortable with me to do it. I'm not going to talk about anything that is going on with her and anything from her experience because that is her own private business. So the only thing I'm willing to discuss here is my experience as a mum, and that's it.
Yeah. Good.
I just want to just be transparent about that because if you might have questions listening to me and you might have more questions after, and I understand that, but at the same time of respecting my daughter's wishes, there's only so much I'm willing to say.
Absolutely.
You go. You start. Tell me. How has your year been in motherhood?
My year has been the same, as in the kids are still great. I still like being their mum. I haven't quit.
I'm not looking for a new position.
Not yet. I haven't had any more children. I haven't sold any that I currently have. So it remains the same.
Well, it remains the same in that you still have 3 children.
I do have 3.
You still have 3 boys.
Sons,
How old are they now? Remind us of their ages.
Max is 21 and he is about to finish at university. So he will actually be coming back to the nest.
So that's a shift.
That's a shift, having been away for 3 years. Zach is very nearly 19. So he has now left school. He is still living at home, but he is working full time. So that's very different. I've gone from having a school boy who was doing his A-levels to a working young man.
Yep.
And Josh left primary school and started secondary school.
There's a lot of shift.
So that was actually also a very, very big jump to big boy school.
Yep.
And he started doing things like taking the tube on his own, taking the bus on his own, meeting up with friends, taking public transport without me taking him and picking him up.
And the conversations of, Mum, can you drop me here? And Mum, can you? Yeah.
Yeah. Zach's also started driving. He has a car. So he's very much independent like that. So yeah, the landscape...
It's been a lot, actually.
It actually has been a lot. So
Yeah.
the landscape has shifted.
A lot.
Quite enormously. And I have started to notice, and this is only really, really very recently, I would say, since, where are we now, March, probably since the start of this year, that, well, I said to you, I feel a bit redundant.
Oh.
And I guess the need for me, the physical and emotional need for me has lessened hugely. And I suppose I notice it most with Josh because he was the baby and he is definitely not a baby anymore.
He is definitely not a baby.
He is no baby. And it's been a lot. It's been a lot for me. It feels like a big shift. And I think I've also had a shift in hormones I think we can say I've entered the perimenopause.
Blimey.
Hi, welcome.
Oh my
I'm 47.
God. Yeah. She's finally caved into the fact that it's happening.
Yeah, it's kind of inevitable.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. So I guess what I found in real terms is that I am so used to and almost like automatically saving my time, my space, my energy for the kids. And the kids are not needing me for that. So, and my husband's life is exactly the same as it always was before we had kids and however many kids we've had. He goes to work, he travels for work. And he has his hobbies and, you know, it's kind of all the same for him. And I do, I guess, the brunt of the domestic load, the pastoral care bits of it.
Well, the pastoral care and the domestic load are very different.
Well, he does do actually quite a lot of the pastoral care. He does a lot of like the kids' hobbies and stuff and anything practical and anything he needs to sort out. And he does enough dropping and driving and all the rest of it. But, you know, he's not worrying about, is there enough eggs? That sort of thing. So we've had a few weekends where the kids are just not there, like none of them. And Ollie said one Sunday morning,
And
my
also,
God.
let's just say that I know they're your kids, but Max and Zag, they're grown men.
Well, yeah,
They're not kids
yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
They're actual adults.
They're adults. So one Sunday morning, Ollie's like, oh my God, I love this. I love this. He's like, the house is quiet. We're having brunch. Like, this is great. And he's like, imagine soon we'll get little people coming to visit our house and then we can play with them and hang out with them and then they can go home and then we'll be like this again. And I think he's very much more lives in the present than me. He doesn't tend to look backwards too much or look forwards too much. He's better at just being where he is. And I think I'm really bad at that. I'm always thinking about yesterday or worrying about tomorrow. I find the present very difficult. I don't know why.
It's interesting that, because it's all we have.
I know.
Not to sound like a knob, but it is all we have.
I know, but I don't tend to kind of grasp that. You know, I'm always thinking, oh, but remember when they were da-da-da, or oh my
But were you
goodness.
present when they were da-da-da?
I don't know. I can't remember that far back. But I'm not feeling how he's feeling. I'm feeling
You're adjusting.
The shift, the change. And then I kept thinking, oh my God, this is why they call menopause the change.
FYI, they don't call it the change
They
anymore.
used to call it the change.
But they don't. And I'm pleased that they don't. But the thing is, it is a changeable time of life.
Yeah.
And also you start to see things differently.
Yeah.
Because you feel so differently about everything.
Yeah. All of it.
Yeah.
So it's quite an exquisite combination of like everything happening at the same time. And Ollie's very kind of, you know, he's great. He's like, listen, this is how life is supposed to be. The kids grow up, you raise them confident, you raise them good, happy to go out into the world and be these people. And like, that's successful. That's the aim here. Like, give them a good, solid foundation, raise these happy people who want to go out there and forge their lives. Like, this is how it is supposed to be. Nobody wants the kid who doesn't feel confident or able to leave the nest or make their place in the world or want to go out and be independent, because that is, you know, we don't keep children forever. We
don't own them.
We raise them to go.
Apart from the dogs. Thank God for the dogs.
Thank God for the dogs. So he's kind of, you know, in with this, and I guess I'm finding it hard to adjust. And
is it what is the difficulty for you? Is it because I know that we've talked about it, and I think there's a lot of your, and we talked about it in the last episode of Motherhood, a huge part of your identity is being a mum.
Yeah, it's that. And it's not like I'm not going to be their mum. They still need parenting and they still need a lot of stuff from me, but it's not as hands-on. So it's like I'm keeping this space free for somewhere where I'm not needed. And we had this weekend recently where on the Saturday, they were all out, and then Josh was on a sleepover, so no one was there. And on the Sunday, which I had assumed someone would be home for lunch or whatever, they all went to the football. And I was kind of left with this, what seemed like a really long day alone. And I thought, this is kind of on me now to start filling this with my own stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this is not anyone else's responsibility to fill that gap. It's my responsibility to fill the gap. And Ollie and I had a really long conversation about it. And I was like, he was like, you could do this and you could do that and you could do blah, 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 and you should try this. And I was like, I need a minute. Like, I just need a minute to adjust, to breathe, to consider it, to think about it, because
to feel it.
This is what I've been doing for 21 years. Like, I've deliberately not had this big career and done all this stuff because I wanted to, and I chose to be mostly at home nurturing and raising these babies, and these babies are flying.
Yeah.
They don't need me anymore.
They do need you.
Not in the same way.
No, not in the same. They don't need you to be available at the weekends. They've got their own lives.
They've got their own lives, as they should.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
so happy that they do.
Yes.
I want to make that very clear. Like, I don't want them at home desperately needing me.
No, I know you don't. But it's about how it's your experience of that shift. And there must be so many women that resonate with this. Like, suddenly you're so knee deep in the nappies and the play dates and the school mums and all the stuff that it comes with, that suddenly they're independent, and it's like, well, who am I?
Where am I? It's almost like the beginning again. It's like, I was an independent person. Now I have this completely dependent baby who I have to be with 24 hours a day. Who am I? Where am I in all of this? And now I'm kind of at the end, almost the end, where I'm like, well, who am I now? Because now I'm kind of going back to being this independent person. And what happens with all that time and all that, everything that I've been doing all this time? And it's quite jarring. And I think it's going to take adjustment and a little bit of time to recalibrate it all. And
also get used to it, for that to become the new normal.
Yeah. And I was sort of trying to explain to Ollie, like, the shift in his life has obviously been immense. Having 3 kids is not at all the same as having no kids. And he was always home for bath time and bedtime and whatever when he could be. But in terms of like how much he was needed, and in terms of going out to do his hobbies and everything else, he's very much set up in life now to not have these kids around and needing him. And I'm not so set up yet to do that. And I also can't and don't expect him to be filling all of that space. Just like, well, now you have to be home with me all the time. You can't go and do your tennis and your things. That's fine. We both need to have our independent stuff. But I guess I think the feeling right now in the moment is like, I'm a little bit left behind. Like, you've all got your lives, and I'm like, oh, okay. So that's why the word redundant, although it sounds very extreme and it's not true in practical terms, that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting from it. And there must be so many women who have that, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking, I mean, I have experienced this, of course, because my youngest one is now 14.
Yeah.
So she's in year 9. So when she went to secondary school, again, it shifted.
It's such a change.
It is such a change.
Yeah.
Suddenly they're going on the bus, and suddenly she's like, no, I don't need you to take me. I'll get the train.
Yeah.
And now she says things like, I'll make my own way home. Don't worry about it. I'm like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
She called me on Saturday night. We were at friends. She's like, I've been invited. She had 4 friends sleeping over. They'd all been invited to some party. It was 8:00 at night. We'll walk up there. I'm like, you're not walking anywhere. And as much as she is ready to be this hugely independent child, and I want her to be, I also need her to be safe, and
Of course.
so it's finding that balance between, yes, I want her to be as independent as she wants to be,
Yeah.
and saying, hold on a second, you are just 14.
Yeah.
Like, we've still got a way to go here.
Yeah.
She always wants to do what her older sister's doing.
Of course.
Anyway, she didn't go to the party. She was not happy about it. But it is an interesting time in a woman's life, and I think it's really interesting how women in motherhood go through these identity stages so much more than a man does, because so much of our identity is wrapped up in the childcare, the domestic stuff, the people, us caring for people, the people leaning on us, needing us. You know, I mean, it's different with boys and girls anyway, because I feel like in year 7, Josh is in year 7,
Yes.
yeah? When a girl is in year 7, that is when it all just starts to kick off, you know, and you need to be more. I have found with both my girls, I have needed to be more present than ever. Not physically. Physically, I can get up and go to the gym or go and meet a friend for coffee and do what I want at the weekends. But emotionally, I have to be so ready when they need me there.
It's such an automatic thing for me to be there for them. Like, okay, it's lunchtime, I need to be home to make lunch. I need to, you know, I'm kind of so used to that routine that now Josh is like, oh, can you drop me at at 1 o'clock because I'm going out for lunch? I'm like, oh, okay, I don't need to make lunch for anyone. It's like there's this kind of gap that's widening, and I'm not quite ready. And alongside that, I'm also feeling this immense gratitude that I made the decisions at the beginning that I made, that I was always there for drop off and pick up, that I there's been no nannies, and I made those choices to do it myself because it's ending.
Yeah,
you know,
and also do want to acknowledge that you could.
We said this on the first show,
but it's so important to highlight it again.
It's very important, and
you were in a position
of extreme privilege to be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
But I also sacrificed having the career that I could have had to do that.
Listen,
so it was a balance.
It always comes at a cost.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to get shot down for saying that. I think motherhood comes at a cost. There's always something that has to give.
Well, and it's always the mother.
Yeah.
It's always the mother.
And that's something I have seriously struggled with over the years. I think as the podcast and our book, as that's become more successful, I've been able to let go of that resentment a bit more, because I feel like I've really achieved something for myself. And whereas I never felt like I was able to do that in hairdressing. I had a great career. I'm not suggesting I didn't, but I never took it to the levels I wanted to take it to because I had the girls. I just didn't have the time or the space to do that. And I didn't want, I wanted to, but I didn't want to be away from them enough. It would have involved far too much travel, far too much time being away from home. And that wasn't a choice I was willing to make.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I resented it and struggled with it.
Yeah.
And I have found in probably the last year, 2 years, that resentment is definitely ebbing away, because I feel like we're really working towards something, and we're really achieving the things that we want to achieve in this space. And I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would have been able to do it when my kids were very little.
I think we had this conversation on the last show, and your sort of feelings of becoming a mum and having these babies to look after took away, not that you ever resented having them because you chose to and wanted to have them, but took away from what you could or wanted to achieve as an individual.
Yes, professionally. And both those things can coexist, and they did. I very much wanted to be a mum. I very much wanted to be at home with my kids and do the pickups and everything else. And at the same time, I resented it because my career took a huge backseat.
I never resented it, but I also was aware that I had to make a choice, and that was the choice that I made. And now I feel very happy that I did that, because I'll always have that, and I'll never have that time again till I have it with my grandchildren, which is a whole different kettle of fish.
But it's different
right?
with your grandchildren. Well, we don't know.
We don't know yet. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
We'll do that podcast in 10 more years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully. So yeah, it's a big shift. There's been a lot of change, a lot of shift, a lot of dynamics changing, and I guess I need to get with the program, is the bottom line.
But think of all those women that stop working and then suddenly they find themselves in this position, and they really can be quite lost and really lost at sea with what to do with themselves. I mean, we're very busy.
Yeah.
Work-wise, we're very busy. We keep ourselves very busy. We have this huge creative outlet, and things are going beautifully in this space for us. And I feel so grateful for the work that I do and the work that I have.
Me too.
And that I can not fall back on it, because it's not like sloppy seconds. This is such an important piece in my life, and it's such an important outlet. And if I didn't have it and my kids were flying the nest, and I would feel very scared and very lost as to what to do with myself.
You always need something for yourself, and that doesn't have to be a paid job, but it has to be something that is yours, that is for you.
I've maintained that from the day they were born, from the day I met Adam.
And I'm also equally as grateful to do this job and do all this, because it's such a huge part of my life and of my identity now.
And then I did ask Lauren when we had this conversation, so you ready to do another podcast? And she's like, fuck off. I'm not having 3.
So shall we take a little break?
Yes.
And then we will come back with your year.
Lauren, you know me, and you know when it comes to food, I trust my gut. And I also trust Zoe, the leading science and nutrition company.
All the nutritionists we've spoken to on this show have highlighted just how much misleading information is out there when it comes to food. Things like the claims that you see on packaging, like low sugar and nothing artificial.
Yeah.
These are often actually a sign to avoid these foods. Ever noticed a health claim on fresh fruit?
No!
Well, then you get my point.
It's completely understandable why there's a lot of distrust and wondering who you should turn to for accurate information.
Well, it's simple. We use Zoe.
Backed by one of the world's largest microbiome databases and most scientifically advanced at-home gut health tests, Zoe gives you proven science whenever you need it.
Go to Zoe.com and find out what Zoe membership could do for you. And because you listen to Self Care Club Clubbers, you can use the exclusive code SELFCARE10 at checkout to get 10% off membership. As a Zoe member, you'll get an at-home test kit and personalised nutrition programme to help you make smarter food choices that support your gut. That's ZOE.com. Use code SELFCARE10 at checkout. Trust your gut. Trust Zoe.
Every cup of Nespresso coffee is an invitation to transform your morning routine into a ritual you can treasure each and every day. Using the Virtuo Pup, a simple touch of the button freshly brews bold aromas and a rich, velvety crema layer for delicious cafe-quality coffee at home. Whether you enjoy your coffee hot or over ice, every sip, every morning is unforgettable. Nothing tastes like Nespresso coffee. Visit Nespresso.com or our app to explore our full range of easy-to-use machines and coffees not found anywhere else.
Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was getting frustrated by your forms. Now, Taxes is uploading your forms with a snap, and a TurboTax expert will do your taxes for you. One who's backed by the latest tech, which cross-checks millions of data points for absolute accuracy, all of which makes it easy for you to get the most money back, guaranteed. Get an expert now at TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
Oh, she's taking a big breath.
Oh, God. I just find this such a difficult subject. I don't know why. I do know why. Okay, so I've mentioned at the top of the show where I was at last year. I was in a really dark space with parenting, and I was having a really hard time.
Yeah.
And being really hard on myself, calling myself a shit mum, feeling like I was a shit mum, even though my kids They were doing fine. And my kids are great. I mean, they drive me round the bend on a daily basis, but they are such spirited, they are just such, they're full of vitality and they're full of opinions and they're feisty and they are full of life, my girls.
They are very full of life.
They are all of those things.
Yeah,
and when they're in a room, you cannot miss them. And
Yeah.
I love that about them. And I am so proud of my kids. And I am in a completely different headspace than the one I was in last year. And one of the big things that happened was that we had a very big diagnosis for my youngest daughter. And we had a neurodiversity diagnosis. I'm not going to go into the specifics of it because it's not my business, and it's not it is my business because it's my kid, but it's not mine to tell. I live in I call it a neuro-spicy household. So there's a lot of neurodiversity going on in my household with both of my kids. But for some reason, the diagnosis for my youngest hit me like a freight train. I didn't see it coming. I didn't expect it. I had not a clue what was going on.
No.
But now I do.
And also listening back to last year's show, you're sort of, it's so clear now, but of course it wasn't clear then. You're like, my oldest daughter, and we have this great relationship and she's so easy and she's so lovely to be around. And my younger one, it's a bit trickier. She doesn't like to let me in all the time and share with me all the time. And, you know, now it just all makes so much sense.
I just want to give that myself a year ago such a big fucking hug. I can't even tell you, say, it's okay. There's a big piece of the puzzle that you don't know. And this is why you're finding it so difficult.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't know.
Hindsight is a beautiful thing, right? It's 2020.
I mean, there was something very powerful listening back to that show.
Yeah.
As I sit in the seat that I sit in today.
Yeah.
So we got the diagnosis. I did a lot of research.
Yeah.
I educated myself. I spoke to people. I got myself really clued up on what was going on.
Yeah.
And when I tell you that my parenting took a 180, I can't even express how life-changing it was, because everything I was doing in my parenting, I'm not going to say it was wrong, but I wasn't supporting her how she needed to be supported.
But you also had no idea
No.
what you were dealing with.
I had no idea.
No.
So no wonder it was hard.
Yeah.
No wonder it was hard.
Yeah.
I mean, no wonder it was hard. I just can't express to you how no wonder it was hard. And we are, I think, 10 months into the diagnosis. It's still really new and it's still really fresh, and it's a lifelong thing that we're going to be not getting our heads around, but supporting ourselves with.
Yeah.
Her, me, my husband, my other daughter, like all of it. So she's doing a lot better. She's doing a lot better. As am I. It's been a really hard. It's been a really hard year. And some of it's been amazing and insightful and helpful and all of everything we all needed.
Yeah.
And some of it's been quite heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So I have so much compassion for myself for a year ago. And I have so much compassion for myself moving forward.
As you should.
I'm not dealing with neurotypical children.
Yeah.
And anyone listening, and I'm sure there's many people listening with neurodiverse kids, they know how difficult it can be. And they know how exceptional it can be. It's literally everything. Every heightened thing, it's that. They have, and you see it all. And I could not be prouder of my girls. And now I know what I know, especially for my youngest, knowing what she has achieved and what she continues to achieve. She is such a fucking powerhouse.
Now it's seen through a different lens.
Oh my God. I have gone through moments over the last 13 years that were difficult or that were amazing, and it's been like,
yeah, but it's like,
that's why.
It's not me. It's not me.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing that wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. The amount of things I have been able to let go of and not blame myself for and not beat myself up for just being a bad mum or being a lazy mum or being just doing it wrong, doing motherhood wrong. I was doing it wrong because I didn't have a big piece of information in my hands. I was doing it wrong for her. And so I have very much learnt on the job, and I continue to learn every day. And sometimes I get it really wrong. And you know what? Some days I get it really right.
Yeah. It's a shame you can't like put a pin in it, go and do some practicing and learning for a year, and then come back and then just do it like that. It's like, okay, I know, but I have to deal with that now, like right now, this afternoon now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steep. It's a steep learning curve.
And it's had to be quick for me and my husband, because we've really had to support the family unit how it's really needed to be supported. My eldest daughter is also neurodiverse, but I don't know, it's just felt different. I don't know why. I don't even think I've got the language around that.
It brings different challenges.
Yeah.
That I guess aren't as hard to sometimes deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Also, it's like I look at my family, my very loud, hectic, chaotic, feisty, messy family in all a manner of things. Messy physically, they're so fucking messy. Messy emotionally, like it's just messy. And with that is beauty and chaos and just such a dynamic that is so colourful. And I see that now as such a beautiful, positive thing, that I have this loud household in all manner of ways. But previous, like me a year ago, saw that as I was doing something wrong.
Well, like it was a failure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it isn't. It's just that the landscape for my family is I parent in a neurodiverse family.
Yeah.
So it's different. So how my family runs, how your family runs, how anyone's family runs is different to what I'm dealing with because I'm dealing with my family.
And it's also difficult because no one's given the option of this. It's like, do you fancy a neurospicy household, or do you just want to deal with the neurotypical kids? It's like no one gets to pick and choose.
Yeah.
You're dealt the hand you're dealt, and you have to get on with it. And yeah, I mean, watching you go through it, it was like a shock, and then like, oh, this is massive. And then all the kind of adjusting, because you're effectively kind of, I don't know if this is a very exaggerated thing to say, but it's like grieving the child that you thought you had, but then you've got this new child that you're being told is this way and you've got to deal with it like that. So it's like a huge adjustment.
Well, it wasn't actually, it's not grieving the child.
Or was it a relief?
It's grieving the ideals.
Okay.
It's that
Okay.
of how you expect them to be.
Yeah.
Or what you expect of them in a neurotypical sense of how we're taught to parent.
And then there has been like quite a few moments of lightness where things have happened. And you and I, because I also have neurodiversity around me, and how you and I have both gone, oh my God, like, how did we not know? It's so obvious.
Like,
what? We didn't spot that.
I say to my husband most days, how did we not see this? But because I didn't have the education, so I actually just didn't know.
I know.
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know, but now it's like,
how could I not
there
know?
was this elephant in the room and no one saw the elephant. The elephant was always there.
No one saw the elephant.
But once you see it, you can't unsee it.
No. The elephant is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and there have been some wonderful moments in that. And there have been a lot of tears.
Yeah.
You know, and there's been a lot of, and And also because I'm also really menopausal.
Yes.
So my hormones have been all over the fucking place. I mean,
Yeah.
how mean is that?
It's
Like,
very mean.
My hormones are like this, up, down,
Yeah.
up, down, up,
Yeah.
down. And then I'm dealing with this big new piece of information. And it's like, I did not know. Some days I don't know my arse from my fucking elbow.
Yeah. And also you are dealing with it later than a lot of parents would be dealing with it. So a lot of parents would have had this information many years ago and kind of been parenting in a different way, or in a way that kind of would help them through all those formative years. And you're dealing with it as she's a teenager.
Yeah.
So you've also got that combination of, you've also got a teenage daughter,
Yeah.
2 teenage daughters, but one who's in the throes of it.
Oh, she's 14. And
as well.
when someone says, how is she? I'm like, well, she's 14. So, and she is.
She's very 14.
She is so 14.
Yeah.
I mean, she couldn't be more 14 if she tried.
So there's that as well,
Yeah.
you know, on top of it. So you kind of, it's like you've come to this party very late and unprepared, but you're at the party now and you'd better sit down.
Or actually, don't sit down. Just get the fuck
Stand up, put on the right outfit.
and get on with it.
But that's kind of where you are. So it's, you know, that's been a big thing as well.
Yeah, it's been a big year for both of us. And I
Yeah.
do want to say that to you, like, thank you.
For what?
Well, I have found you such an amazing, I'm going to cry. I have found you so supportive and so ready to always listen and to just
Of
hold
course.
space for me to be wherever I am at. And honestly, I don't know if I would have gotten through it the way I have without you. So
I'm going to pause recording to give Nicole a hug. I have to come to her mic.
I mean it.
Okay, we finished
I
hugging
mean
now.
it. You've been an amazing friend and you've been amazingly supportive and you've always known the right thing to say. Because not everybody does, right? And not everybody has the level of understanding that you have.
Well, I'm lucky because I've been educated by
Yes.
other people who are dealing with it.
Yes.
So it's not in my household, but because I've spent quite a lot of years around it, I've kind of, there's a lot of language that I've automatically
Yes.
kind of picked up and things that I have just learnt from being around it. So it's not something that's completely new to me, but although I haven't had to deal with it firsthand myself, you know.
I've had a lot of, why is everyone just being given labels? I've had a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I've had to have a lot of discussions about why it's so important.
Yeah.
Which maybe we should do a show on anyway, because I think it's such an important conversation. And it's something I obviously feel very passionately about because both my girls having had this diagnosis is only going to empower them and help them in life. And that is all it is there to do. It's not a trend. People aren't handing out diagnoses for the fun of it. It's actually vitally important that these kids get the correct diagnosis at the correct time.
And then they get the support that they need to empower them to go through life in the best way for them.
Exactly. So thank you.
You're welcome.
We wanted to round up the show. We're going to pull ourselves together now. We wanted to round up the show by asking each other one thing that we've learnt from each other this year in parenting.
And also something that you have found like rewarding or joyful about motherhood this year. I want to ask you that as well.
Oh, what have I found rewarding and joyful? My girls are very involved in their schools.
Yeah.
And they are very involved in the drama departments. And my youngest daughter, 2 months after we got this diagnosis, got given one of the leads in her school show.
Yeah.
And watching her on stage, she absolutely smashed this role. Knowing everything she is dealing with and knowing how difficult a time it had been, watching her own this stage in her own right was sheer magic.
Yeah.
And I had the same with my older daughter, who's also a beautiful singer, and I've watched them on stage many times this year. I'm so lucky I'm able to do that. And I always say to both of them, those moments as I watched Lily Rose plays Sharpay in High School Musical. She was the best Sharpay you've ever seen. And Daisy do her singing she sang in a West End stage a couple of times this year. And I said to them both, those are the moments, without sounding morbid, I'm going to remember on my deathbed.
Yeah.
They are the happiest moments.
Yeah. That's so nice.
In my parenting life, I have never felt so proud of them just claiming their space.
That's so nice.
What about you?
I think watching both of them navigate, the older two this is, watching them navigate life with their girlfriends has been so lovely and so sweet. And seeing how respectful they are and thoughtful, and just this new generation of men that are...
hooray.
They just seem so different
Hooray.
from the boys that we grew up with.
Yeah.
And I just feel really proud that I've raised such lovely, thoughtful, kind young men. And I can really see now, because they are very grown up, the men that they're going to be and how they're going to be in the world, and the husbands and dads, hopefully, that they're going to be one day. And it's lovely. And I do feel just super proud of both of them. The oldest one, just how he's been so independent and forged this whole career for himself at uni, and the jobs he's done, and how productive he is, and just amazingly creative and independent. He's been brilliant. And Zach as well has just left school and got a job and working and sorting himself out, and they're just really kind of resilient, independent kids, and it's lovely. And Josh as well, he's just taken to secondary school. He loves it. He's thriving. He's happy. He's becoming a little teenager, not a baby, and he's very confident and happy. And yeah, I feel very lucky and proud to mother all of them. So yeah,
Lovely.
they bring me joy.
Lovely.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for anyone in your position right now?
Oh, fucking hell. I mean, yes.
Go on.
Get the diagnosis.
Okay.
Get it.
If you're wondering, you mean?
Do what you can to get them the support they need, because you need it too. And it is imperative for their mental health in the future that they get diagnosed correctly. So if you have questions about anything, just get the ball rolling, please.
I think that's very good advice.
Yeah.
And I would say for anyone in my position right now, start putting some small things in place that are for you. Just small. It doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to get a allotment, but just do, or a dog.
Fucking allotment. I mean,
why? A lot of people get allotments, keeps them very busy.
You're not getting an
No,
allotment.
I'm not.
We are going to start a third podcast if you're going to get an allotment.
I'm not getting an allotment. It's okay. My friend's got one. I can help her with hers.
Right.
I would say just start to put a few small things in place that are for you and just for you only. And so when this space starts happening in your life, that you do feel like you've got some things that really bring you joy, that are great, that keep you occupied and busy and happy, I would say that would be my advice.
Lovely. So what have you learned this year?
From you?
Yeah, what have you learned from me? Oh, God.
I've learned a lot from you. I think you've taken this all, I know you think it's been a terrible, difficult, really, really difficult year, but I feel like you just took it in your stride. I feel like you were like, right, okay, this is it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the other, and I'm going to educate myself. And you were so proactive, so that it didn't kind of knock you. It almost raised your game. I found that incredibly inspiring and very impressive. Now you make me cry now.
Thanks. I didn't feel like I was raising my game, but thank you.
I did. I found it actually quite amazing.
Thanks.
There was no kind of there was no self-pity. There was no why me? There was no oh, this is so hard. It's well, this is what I've got, and this is great because I can do something with it now. And you did. And that
I can help her.
But you did, and you have.
Thanks. You know what? I have.
Yeah, you
actually
have.
have.
You have.
Actually have.
You have.
I mean, she thinks I'm the most annoying person on the whole planet, but you
Well,
know, I'm
you
her mum,
are,
and
but-
I'm a mum, and she's 14, and I'm meant to be annoying.
Yeah,
So
you are.
what I have learned from you is your ability to trust in your kids. Like you don't sweat the small stuff. You just don't. You don't, and you trust them in a way that you are able to let them be who they are. And I found that really inspiring, and it has encouraged me to do much more of that. To sort of let go, let them make their mistakes, let them make their own decisions, let them fall sometimes. And if they need me, I'm there, but actually I'm not helicoptering the whole thing, because all that does is exhaust me and stress me out. And I've just watched you, especially with your middle one, of just how you've allowed him to flourish on his own. And I think it's admirable.
Thank you. I do believe they find themselves. They've got a stable base at home. I do believe they can do that for themselves.
I'm pleased that I have that model in my life. I am.
Wow, we did a big show today.
Didn't we? We did, yeah.
I hope it's helped at least one of you. If not, maybe two of you.
Maybe it's helped us.
Maybe it has. I don't know. But I think, I always say this. I think when we're dealing with something, I know that other people out there are also dealing with it. So I think it's good to share.
And again, a very well-rounded perspective on motherhood, like completely different.
Completely different.
And happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day.
To everybody. I hope if you're a mum, I hope you're being spoiled. If you have a mum, I hope you're spoiling them. And sending love to all the people that struggle on a day like today. Thank you for listening.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous 2-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.